Hello, everyone. It is Monday, December 21st, and it is the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. So it is the longest, darkest day of the year, but it is also the day that we begin to head toward the light, that more light every day after this, we will have more light coming back onto the earth. And what a year it's been, right? And I truly believe, and I've definitely felt this, there is more light coming onto this planet, more souls that are awakening and standing in their light. So today, that's what I want to share with you. I'm going to do things a little bit different than I normally do, but I'm excited about doing this. First of all, I'm going to light a candle to begin to welcome in more of the light. And we'll do that together. And I'll just have it setting off to the side here. So today I want to first talk about Firefly Philosophy. Don't try and say that too fast. So I am going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to bring in Firefly Philosophy first because this is something that came up for me about a month or so ago. I actually recorded a podcast with host Lisa Morris Miller, where we talk about animal wisdom, what Firefly Philosophy means to me, as well as she brought in animal wisdom from elephant. So when that podcast does air, I will be sure to let you know. And that episode airs, I will let you know. But Firefly and the fact that we are, heading towards more light. We've seen so many big changes this year, so many dark things that we've had to go through as well, that I feel it was really important for me to bring in Firefly today. So I'm still going to give you the opportunity to pick a card as well as your personal message for the week that will go along with the message of Firefly Philosophy. So I will first share with you, first I'm going to share with you how I actually created a mixed media collage around what Firefly means to me and how it has to do with the light, about being our own light, and how that came to be. So it was probably like 2 months ago. I continue to do my own inner work. I continue to understand what try and understand what the bigger perspective of everything is that we've gone through in 2020. So I heard a teacher one day, or a mentor that I listened to, and I've heard this before, but sometimes you just hear things in a different way. You could have heard it 20 times, but this one time something clicks. And I heard her say that we are all being called to be warriors of love and light. And I've heard that before. Like I said, I've heard it many, many times. But there was like this new awareness that just sparked something inside of me. And I just had this really deepening of awareness that this is why I'm here on the planet, is to be love and light. That is my purpose. That has been my purpose all along. It is who I am. But when I thought about the word warrior didn't feel right for me personally. Now, there's nothing wrong with warrior. There's nothing wrong with people who are being warriors and doing that work in the world right now, who are, out on the front lines fighting for, justice and equality. And I applaud those people. I am so grateful for those people, but that's not my role. And perhaps it's not your role, but maybe it is your role. And maybe you're going to be a warrior. And there's some of us who are going to be what I came to realize are fireflies. So as I said, the word warrior just didn't sit right with me. So I just kind of let that percolate. I let the awareness of love and light just really sit with me. And I think it was either the next day or the following day. It was between 2 and 4 in the morning when I get my most intuitive insights. And I was thinking again, I was kind of in that dream state, not quite awake. And I was thinking about this term warrior again, how that just didn't fit for me. And all of a sudden in my mind, I saw the image of a firefly. And I knew there was a message here for me. So I'm going to share the card with you and I'm going to share the message of what I got. So here is my Firefly mixed media collage that I made. You can see all the fireflies floating around. And I have to tell you that when I did the recording for the podcast that's coming out next year with Lisa Morris Miller, I can't remember if it was during the call, after the call, or before. I don't remember. But all of a sudden I realized I had made the card and had it sitting there for quite a few weeks. And I realized all of a sudden I needed the spirals. I needed to add that to the card. So let me first start with Firefly. So when I thought about Firefly and how that applies to my own life and how I see a lot of other people going through their own transformations, especially this year, so many of us have gone through our own personal transformations. And I think about the philosophy of Firefly and about being love and light in the world. So if you have followed my work for a while, you know that I am all about the importance of pausing. And I got to that place because of the animals, dogs specifically in my life. Dog Paws, PAWS, who taught me to pause and to contemplate and to reflect, to check in with my inner self and with my heart. So when it came to me that I'm a firefly of love and light, I thought about the firefly and I could see it, out in the fields flying around, outside flying around, and how they're not constantly lit up, right? So I'm using my fist like I'm a little firefly here. So their little bodies are dark momentarily, right? And it takes all the energy that they have to light up, and then they go dark, and then they light up, and then they go dark. And it's the same in our own lives. It requires energy to be love and light in the world, right? And in order to be that energy in the world of love and light, the darkness is just as important. And the darkness is about doing our own inner work. And the reason why I ended up adding the spirals is because the spiral is very significant to me also, which came to me in 2012. I remember distinctly because it's when my second little special needs dog passed away. And I was given this image and this message from the spiral and how important it is to go inward at various different times in our life. Sometimes we do it 2 or 3 times in a day. But the big major moments of our life, the big teachings of our life, it's really important to spiral in and stay in that place and contemplate and reflect what it is we need to take with us as we spiral back out into the world. So that's why I added spiral, because I feel it just really speaks to the Firefly philosophy as well, about the importance of pausing, and being in the shadow part of ourselves sometimes. And then what we learn from that, we bring that new light out into the world. So then my card I also included on here as representative of myself, of having these wings like a firefly, that's what I am, what I want to embody and continue to embody and be in the world. And then also I added the green heart, because green is all about the heart chakra. In order to be love and light in the world, I have to keep honoring my heart. I have to keep healing my heart. And that comes in so many different layers. As human beings, it's not just one and done. We continue to peel away those layers. And the more we do, the brighter and the deeper green our hearts become, and the more they open with compassion and love. So that is the Firefly philosophy I wanted to share with you today, because I was very encouraged by doing that episode for that podcast with my friend Lisa. I was also very encouraged by a creativity group that I belong to, where I shared the card last week, and it had resonated with a couple of people in the group. So I really wanted to, I just felt it was so important with the winter solstice to share that, because it is about bringing more light onto this planet, and it is about stepping into our own light and to be our own light, and trust our own light as well. So let's pick a card around Firefly Philosophy. And I hope you're feeling from what I shared that you want to strengthen your light or be more of your light as you go into 2021, beginning today with the winter solstice. So I'm going to work with the wisdom of the Oracle deck. And you can go ahead and think of, do you want card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3? And what is it that you need to know? Whoops. What is it you need to know about shining your light and being your light in the world beginning today? All right, so if you pick card number 1, let's see what the message is for you. Happy, happy. So I actually pulled this card, I should say. I pulled it upside down. I want to make sure I'm not cutting off the speaker here. I pulled it upside down, which in this deck means protection, and is an extra hug and a nudge from spirit to really pay attention to the message. So the fact that happy, happy was pulled upside down and wanting to be a light in the world like a firefly, where is it in your life? This card is asking you, where is it in your life that you aren't experiencing joy and happiness? And to remember that joy is your birthright. So to be that firefly of going in, to the darkness, to going into that shadow part and looking at, where in my life aren't I happy, and how can I make changes to make that happen? So you can turn it around and experience more happiness, because when you are feeling more happy, you automatically spread that out into the world without even trying, right? So that is your message if you pick number 1. So let's see what number 2 is and what you need to know. I just noticed too on the happy, happy card, there's a little hummingbird, and hummingbird always represents joy to me. So again, what area of your life are you not feeling happy or challenged by? And that's going to be your work. In order to bring more light into the world is to work on that part of it. All right, so card number 2, let's see what that is. If you pick card number 2, all that glitters. So yeah, this is a tough card to get. It's not my favorite card in the deck, I will tell you that. And I did pick this in upright. And all that glittered is really about where in your life is perhaps, how do I say this? I want to say this gently and kindly. It could have to be something with materialism. It could be something that's superficial. And it's usually something that just doesn't feel right for you in your life, but perhaps you've bought into, how do I say that? Gosh, it's so hard. I'm gonna go with the image of the masks on here as well. So where is it perhaps that you are wearing a mask for self-protection? Because you are afraid to show your true self for fear of judgment or fear of rejection. That's what I'm going to go with, because that's what's feeling really right in the moment. So when we can learn to be with that part of ourselves, and we can learn and allow ourselves to feel all of that, and then allow ourselves to let that go, we can bring more of our true self to the surface. Yeah, that's definitely where I want to go with that card in regards to Firefly Philosophy, and of being the light we truly want to be in the world is letting go of that false face that we perhaps have put on in order to protect ourselves. And that, give yourself a big gentle hug for that, because There's certain things that I do the same thing, and I'm working on to make that better and correct that in my life too. It's not easy work. I understand that. But when we can to um, start to peel that away, we are definitely going to feel more in alignment with who we are, and our light is going to shine brighter. So it's a tough card to get if you pick number two, but again, just give yourself a big gentle hug. It's going to be okay. You can do this. You can just have lots of compassion and love for yourself as you do this work, and you can get to that space of being a firefly as well. You already are. You already are. Just know that too, that you already are. But again, when you remember the philosophy of the firefly, it's just important to be with those parts that we don't care so much about ourselves in order to shine our light brighter. All right. So card number 3, if that's the card that you chose, let's see what that card has to say. Flexible. Wow, this is so interesting. I just have to say this. All that glitters and the card flexible were two of the cards. I recently did a reading for a client who who gave me permission to actually record it. She came up with the idea and she said, would you like to record the reading so others can see how a reading works? And I'm going to be releasing that, or actually it is already on my YouTube channel, and I will post a link here in the description so you can, if you want to watch that as well. But it's interesting to me because in her reading, all that glitters came up in her reading, and so did flexible. So wow, there's, I guess, perhaps a collective message here as well. So when we look at Firefly philosophy and, going into the darkness in order to shine our light as bright as we can. So when we think about flexible and how do we shine our light, I am feeling that this card is speaking to the fact of, in order to shine our light as bright as we can, sometimes we have to allow in a different perspective. Or maybe not necessarily a different perspective, but all perspectives, in order to understand our true, what word am I trying to think of? What our truth is, right? So being more flexible in opening to all perspectives may help us to see something that we may have not seen before. And that will add to the truth of what we already know. I hope that's making sense to you. It's making total sense to me. But in order to be a light in the world, we can't be rigid in our thinking, or we can't get stuck in our thinking mind. We also have, being flexible is about trusting our thoughts, but it's also really more about trusting our heart. And that's bringing those two things together. Just doing this alone is like connecting everything, and then connecting our higher self with source, which I think that's been a big thing for many of us this year too, is strengthening our faith and our trust. However, you define the divine, it's getting more in touch with that again. So connecting all of that, and it's being flexible with all of that and understanding that we need all parts of that in order to be the light in the world. So those are the 3 cards for the week, for the winter solstice. And again, I just felt really called to share Firefly philosophy with you this week as we celebrate the winter solstice and we celebrate on being on our way to more light, not only today and the rest of the year and next year, but more light. Let's welcome more light onto this planet. And that does mean that we have to continue to do our inner work in order to shine the brightest that we can each shine. And oh my gosh, let's just light up this planet, right? I know that we can each do this. I know that it's up to each of us. And that reminds me that next week I'm going to share with you a different mixed media collage that I just did. I started working on it in honor of the solstice, and I realized as I was finishing it that it really feels like it's a message to go into the new year. So I'm going to bring that in next Monday, and then we'll pull cards again for that as well. So I hope that reading was helpful for you. And let me know what you think of Firefly Philosophy. What does Firefly speak to for you? And if you want to, comment a little bit about what card you chose and how that resonated for you, I'd love to hear that as well. All right, everyone, have a great week. I know this was a little bit longer video, but I hope it was helpful. And if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. I do. As you can see, I got my lights on back here. So have a great week, everyone. Celebrate the winter solstice and listen to your heart. Listen to your heart and be that firefly. Take good care. Bye bye.